And so we have a really thriving community there. Where I live, there are about 300 of us coming from America, from England, and from the Caribbean. My husband was a retired New York City firefighter, so we were able to live quite comfortably on his pension. In fact, the city of New York was truly pissed off with him because he collected his pension for 33 years. Okay, before he got out of here. I know every time they had to sign his check, it was like, is he still here? But we honestly lived, when we went there in 1990, we lived a family of 4 or for $700 a month. We built a house. We now have, Sass can attest to, we have rooms, and the thing is that we built these little round buildings, huts, but we don't call them huts, because I know if we told yo was coming, some huts yo wouldn't be coming. So we call them chalets. You know, chalets is French, even though the French has never been in Ghana, don't nobody question it, okay? So we call them chalets, and in my marketing, I tell people what they're gonna get. There is no television in that room. There are no air conditioners in that room. You got a fan, okay? There is no hot water in that room, but the water's warm. And you're in paradise, and you're on the ocean. And where you gonna go for $50 a night, including complimentary breakfast and taxis? Nowhere, okay? Okay. Here's the sign-up sheet, okay? So the thing is that we need to be doing what we want to do, okay, with the rest of our lives, okay? I'm 70.
Let me see.
I honestly forget.
72.
No, 4. I think it's 4. 74. Yeah, I think so. Anyway, it don't matter. It really doesn't matter because it depends on this.
That's right.
And how it is that you feel. And some mornings you wake up and it hurts. You just keep on going. That's all. It comes along with the territory. And as long as I can keep moving, I'm all right. I'm not sick. I have all my marbles. A few might be cracked, but you know, I'm still in one piece. And that's what's important. And I'm doing what I want to do with my life.
Indeed.
I've raised my children. It's not my responsibility to raise the grandchildren. And as I told them, if any one of y'all died, I would take over the kids in Africa. Because I'm not coming back here to stay. So I have written a couple of books. My first book was entitled Points to Ponder, which is a travel guide. How do we get ready to come to Africa? First of all, one, where is it that we're going? And how do we get ready? And the reason I put that book together is because people that were coming, they would be bringing toilet paper and water and food and all sorts of stuff. And my husband and I used to chase tour buses, literally. Anytime we heard that there was a bus in town from America, we hot-footed to the hotel so we could find out what was going on in America. And we would tell people, when you're ready to leave, anything that you don't want to take back, you can leave it with us. And we would use it and share it with our village. Child, you would not believe some of the stuff that was in there. They had aspirins, something for the stomach, suppositories, Dinky Moore's beef stew mix, beans, sardines, you name it, because they were coming to Africa. Okay. So as a result of that, I wrote a book. Okay. It covers transportation, it covers what I call cultural norms. For example, here in America, if I said to my sister here, girl, are you crazy? She would think nothing of that. In Ghana, if I say to somebody, are you crazy? They will not speak to you anymore in this life or the next. That's a terrible insult. First time I asked somebody, I was like, crazy? You call me crazy? You call me crazy? I said, are you ask a person if they're crazy. You don't shake hands with the left hand. You don't give anybody anything with the left hand. So I'm like this, because I'm right-handed. Move his hand back.
Yes.
So you make sure you give him this one. And the reason being is that this is the hand that you wipe your body parts with. Okay? And you don't eat with that hand. I'm like, I eat with both of mine, okay, because I wash my hands when I get finished, okay. But we do a lot of eating with our hands. And, you know, I remember we were eating, I fixed a plate for my family, and we do a common plate. And everybody, what? My mother said, don't be putting your hands in my plate. Give me my own plate. Everybody's putting their hands in here. I said, but that's our culture. She said, well, I think it's rude. Okay, no problem. So I give her my own plate. So being in Africa has really been different. For example, we got this property, and the way that we got the property, and the reason that I know that the move that we made was the move that was supposed to be made, that it was a blessing, it was a gift from my ancestors, it was a gift from the Most High. When I went there in 1987, I met two fishermen by the name of Matthew and John. Matthew and John came by my hotel, and they invited me to their village. Well, I went to their village, I had a really nice time, stopped along the way, beautiful property, standing there on the ocean, looking at the Elmina Castle dungeons in the distance. And I thought to myself, I said, you know, God, universe, ancestors, Buddha, Jesus, whoever's out there, all of y'all, this is where I want to be. This is where I'd like to spend the rest of my life. Beautiful piece of property. This is what I want. If you give me this, I promise to be an obedient servant. I'll do whatever you tell me to do if you give this to me. We left there. We went to the village, spent a nice morning, bathing the children and having a good time. Came back to New York, just told my husband in general, it was a wonderful trip and you need to go. His response to me was, there you go again, Ima. You visited someplace, you like the food, now you want everybody to eat it. You visited someplace, now you want everybody to move. Okay. And I said, no, this is really different. So, being the kind of man that he was, and I thank God for him, he said, okay. I said, I'm giving you a birthday present. I'm sending you to Ghana on the 18th of December. And you know how we are, you know. Yeah, man, we're going to do this, right? Everybody's going to do it. For Monty will attest. You have 35, 40 people. Yeah, man, we going. Right, we get down with this. Well, when it came time to go, the only one who was going was him. So his thing was, ain't nobody going but me. I said, I don't care because I'm only married to you. I don't care if the rest of them don't want to go. So he went by himself. 88 we went. My husband was a Hebrew Israelite, and they are Sabbath day observers. So he would go someplace on the Sabbath. I never knew where he was going. And then he comes in one day and he says, I met these people and they want to make me a chief. And I'm like, a what? A chief. I said, but do you know what that means? Chief, in charge, responsibility, finance, commitment. I don't want to do any of that. I don't want to be committed to anybody but you and me. That's it. So he thought about it, we talked about it. I said, well, if you want to be a chief, be the chief. It's all right. I can't stay to see you be made the chief. Because at that time I did have a business. We had a travel agency and a car service. So I let him go back and he got his chieftaincy and we moved to Ghana in 1990. Because when I left, I told him, I said, look, I want some land. I want to be on the ocean. I don't want to be in a mountain looking at the water. I don't want to be on the beach in the sand. I want to be kind of, you know, you got it? He said, I got it. So sure enough, when we moved back in 1990, after being in town for a couple of weeks, he said, come on, I'm going to take you out to visit my village. And when we got to the village, I knew all of the people in the village because those are the people that I met in 1987.
Oh my.
Those are the people that made him a chief. And then he took me to the land that the village had given to him when they made him a chief. And it was the same land that I stood on in 1987 and asked for. The exact same place. And the way they gave us the land was like this. Okay, from here to here to here to here. All is for you.
All is for you.
All is for you. So that said, I mean, prayers do get answered, but it also put me on a spot because I didn't make a commitment. I said, if you give me this, I'm gonna do whatever you all tell me to do. And that's what I've been doing for the past 26 years.
Beautiful.
Taking people through the castle dungeon experience, because it is something that we as Africans born in America must do when we come. It is a sacred place. You know, the Jews have their Holocaust, we have our Holocaust. How much worse was it for us with over 100,000 Africans lost versus 6,000 Jews? And that's not downplaying their Holocaust. But is it any more important than ours? So we do pilgrimages, naming ceremonies, birthing. I've birthed about 10 children since I've been in Ghana. One little boy, he says that he was born into my hands. So I've got 10 children that were born into my hands. And I do what I'm instructed to do. The ancestors I call, they answer. We live in a comfortable place. There is no Ebola in Ghana. West Africa consists of 14 countries, and only 3 countries have the Ebola virus. And so we live well. I've had malaria a few times, but malaria is like a bad case of the flu. If you don't treat it, it'll kill you. Pneumonia will kill you if you don't treat it. And I think that we as African people, even if we don't want to live there, we should take a trip at least one time to stand where our ancestors stood. Okay. And it's been an adventure for me, as my book states. This one is Returning Home Ain't Easy, and it has not been easy, but it sure is a blessing. And it speaks to the experiences that I've had as an African woman born in America, returning to the land of my ancestors. It also has a plan on how to be able to leave America and live outside. The nice thing about the book, and I'm only quoting my readers, one of the things that I wanted to do when I was writing this book was that my concern was, will people hear me and feel me when they read my book? And so I was writing, I was up to 310 pages when someone came along and said, I think you're finished with that book.
Stop now.
310 pages, I was still writing. No. This is book number 1. He said, cut it.
You can stop now.
And so the person that told me that was a writer. He was, his name was Del Jones.
Oh, yeah.
You don't remember Del Jones?
Yeah.
He was the war correspondent. And I had given him my manuscript and asked him to take a look at it. And he was out there laughing one day. And I said, oh man, maybe he liked the book. Well, he said the book was ready. So we published. So the comments that I get back from my readers is that when they read my book, they hear me talking, because I'm also a storyteller. And for years, people have been saying, you need to write a book. Girl, why don't you write a book? And I like to tell it. But I said, okay, I wrote a book. So one little boy, the comment from his mother was, the little boy wanted to know why his mother kept reading that book. Because sometimes she's laughing, and then she's crying, and then she get mad. So why do you want to read that book? Okay? Another lady chased me around the United States. She called Ghana. Her husband said she's not here. She said she went to New York. She called New York. New York said she ain't here. She went to Florida. She called Florida. I going someplace else. Finally, I'm riding on the bus, and I get this phone call. And this lady says, you make me late for work. I've been late for work for the past 3 days. And I'm like, who is this? She said, I've been reading your book. And I have not been able to put that damn book down. So I laughed. I said, well, I hope you enjoy it. She said, girl, you don't know how I'm enjoying that book. I'm getting ready to come to Africa. So I said, I'm going to be visiting Florida, and maybe we might get together. So I was doing a lecture like this, and I was telling you a story about her. And I said, so I've given her a name. I call her the stalker. Okay, because she stalked me. So while I'm talking, this lady stands up. And she says, excuse me, Miss IMAHKÜS, I'm the stalker.
Right in there.
She was right there. She was the stalker. The woman was serious. She said, I want you to sign my book. So what I generally do when people buy my book is I tell them, please send me your comments. I'd like to know what you thought about the book. The last comment, one that I really get a kick out of, this woman's husband was coming, up there where Nana Penny lives, Nana Prepe. So Penny was coming back and forth, back and forth. But his wife wouldn't come because she said she ain't lost nothing in Africa. So I told her, I said, sis, you got a good looking, very friendly husband, okay? And he looks good to a lot of people. If I were you, the next time that plane took off, I'd be on it with him, okay? He wouldn't be leaving going to Africa without me again, okay? So they were going home, and she read the book. I get a letter from her saying that the dream of coming to Africa was not hers, it was her husband's. But after she read the book, the dream of Africa has now become theirs instead of his. They are currently living in Africa. They have a beautiful, beautiful community that they've developed. And she's got a fabulous house that they built on the oceanfront. So I like to feel like I inspire people to want to make the move, to at least step out there. And then the last book, I'm on a 4th book, but this is Ababio. And Ababio or Ababu means he or she who is away and has returned. Now, it is an anthology, and initially my thought was to interview people and ask them about their story. Then I decided, no, I'm going to let them interview themselves and write for me what their experiences have been like, because they've been different. Some have been really good, some have been bad, but they've been experiences. And the thing is that we need to be writing our own history.
That's right.
We don't need to wait for somebody to come along and write what they think we went through. So I have compiled 18 chapters. People that you see on the front, these are some of the writers that came from America, from the Caribbean, from Europe, to write about what their experiences have been. Some of them are so funny, you will fall over in laughter. Some of them are really very sad, okay? And one particular